just not going to go down well when you buy this shoe and I wasn't completely forthright with you. For example, there's a major issue with this shoe. There it is. Thank you for your patience, everybody. The North Face Flight Vectiv finally makes it into the studio for its first impression scoring, not the full review. And if you can see my breath out here, it was below 0 last night, so that's why it's a little chilly in the studio today, but we're gonna get this done for all of you. Here's the deal though, before we dive into the scoring for this, I'm realizing my fingers are getting a little cold. Before we dive into the scoring system, I have to make a point that is hopefully, you know, it might get me into some hot waters or get me in a little trouble out there on the internet, but that's okay. I gotta make this point that, and most of you already are aware of this. Down below the vlogs, I have links to Running Warehouse for running shoes that I've already tested or shoes that I'm testing right now. When you click on those links and you buy running shoes through those links, I get a kickback from Running Warehouse. I get a commission back, okay? And that helps me make these daily vlogs for all of you in a big way. So thank you for using them. But I just want to make the point right now that I will never ever soften my scoring. I will never be lackadaisical in critiquing a running shoe in order to drive up shoe sales. I think the Nike React Infinity Run Flyknit 2 is a good example of that. A lot of people are interested in that shoe. I am not excited about. I could have just glossed over the fact that the upper tore on me the first time I put it on inside my house. But instead, I called Nike out, and so I just want to make clear that here on YouTube, here on the internet, when you're listening to running shoe reviews, make sure you're aware whether or not the people doing the reviews have affiliate links down below the videos, because if they do, and they're not being, I'll just say, aggressive enough in critiquing the shoe, it makes me nervous that they're doing it in order to drive their sales upward, okay? For example, I'm just going to tell you right now, remember at the end of every vlog I say other shoes to consider buying? I'm going to tell you other shoes to buy over this shoe that might give you a little hint as to how I feel about this guy and the final early score that I'm giving to it at the end of the vlog. Just wanted to clear the air a little bit, because there's more and more people that are working with companies to sell shoes on the internet, and if we're not completely transparent with you guys, and we're just driving sales up for these companies, it's just not going to go down well when you buy this shoe and I wasn't completely forthright with you. For example, there's a major issue with this shoe that I'll get to here in a minute. Sound good, everybody? Okay, let's dive in. 6mm drop, 25 in the heel, 19 in the forefoot, so basically a lower stack height for this guy. Kind of surprising, but again, 25 and 19 for women's size 8, 8.7 ounces. Men's size 9, 10 ounces, and in my size, let me just turn the scale on inside the house. Hopefully it works in the cold out here. I got 9.3 ounces in the house. Let's just confirm 9.3 ounces. This is good. I have I actually have 3 scales now, but it's just good to cross-reference the scales to make sure I'm giving out accurate information for all of you. There is my score. We're looking at a MATRYX panel, a KEVLAR upper here through the midfoot. I gotta say, good work, North Face. Also, the Hoka Evo Speed Goat has that KEVLAR woven into the upper to basically create more strength in the upper, so I like that a lot. It's got a nice toe cap here to protect your toes out there on the trails from, you know, kicking roots and rocks. I think it's a pretty solid toe cap, and it is a booty style collar with the tongue is one piece of material here throughout the entire upper. The tongue is not separated from the rest of the upper, which means there's no need for a gusset, okay, on either side. On the inside here, there's also a little bit of extra padding added just underneath the eyelet chain, so you can help kind of cinch down the shoelaces over the top of your foot. Good work there, North Face. And then last, let's do the heel counter here. So it's got a little give to it, actually, and a little bit of reinforced Gosh, I don't even know if it's a it's not a TPU. It's a softer rubber here on the heel counter to help reinforce that with a little extra padding at the back of the heel counter. But here's the issue, okay? This is where I'm calling out the North Face, and this is where I'm gonna really recommend you make sure you have a good return policy if you buy this shoe or if you pick it up in a running shoe store, okay? The collar of the shoe is not doing so hot. In fact, that's why the lockdown is 4.5, I believe I gave it, out of 10. This is the major issue, major issue. Like, I don't even know what's going on because there is no extra, let's see, hole here at the top of the eyelet chain for the runner's knot. I could not lock down this shoe well. I was heel slipping, major heel slipping, and I think it's because of this booty style collar, which basically creates a more flexible, and I'm not excited, everybody. So I'm not gonna harp on it too much. That's the issue, and just make sure if you test this shoe out that you have a good return policy in case your heel is slipping as well. I will leave it there. Overall score for the upper is actually a lot higher than the lockdown because, again, that MATRYX woven in, that KEVLAR woven in, I think is great. I think the padding at the back of the heel counter is solid, even though my heel is still slipping. But again, it just comes down to that collar. Moving on to the midsole, we've got a rocker midsole design with dual density, high rebound foams, and I love it. I think the midsole is actually the highlight of the shoe, which is a good sign, North Face, because a lot of people are most concerned about their midsole, the heart of the shoe, rather than the upper. So I think the midsole, and my fingers are freezing. I can't feel my fingers out here. So the durometer, the durometer felt much better inside the house because the midsole foam was softer. Out here, it's starting to stiffen up a little bit, which is interesting in the freezing temperatures. Anyway, I'm loving the midsole with, yes, that 3D Vectiv plate for propulsion forward, as the North Face website says, and also stability. So you can see that the plate is exposed here on both sides, the medial and the lateral side. Here that wraps around the heel here. So again, creating a little more of a stable ride through the foot strike, which I did feel out there. Overall ride and energy, I'm excited. It felt lively, okay? Now, unfortunately, I was slipping a little bit through the heel, so I didn't get to really get that push-off power because I was afraid my heel was gonna kind of slip a little bit out of that heel pocket. Overall, I'm very excited about the midsole. Good work there, North Face. Now, on the outsole, we're looking at surface control rubber, which is a tackier rubber, and on aggressive trails, I'd be a little concerned with a 3.5 millimeter lug depth. That's what's going on here. But for more buffed out trails and by the way, this is considered their top of the line trail racing shoe, okay? Now, I'll come back to how I'll use this shoe in a minute, but I would be a little hesitant to use this shoe on loose gravel or not gravel, but loose rock out there on the trail. So if you're on, again, aggressive race, I'm trying to think of a race course that would be, well, even crazy, even like Pikes Peak, where the trail going up to the top, the dirt is a little loose these days because it gets so much use out there. So keep that in mind. 3.5 millimeter lug depth there on the bottom. So a standard score, 7.5 out of 10. Now, interesting, true to size. So for the fit, should you go true to size or go a half size down? I wish I would have gone a half size down. I went true to size, and maybe that would help with the heel slipping in the heel pocket. I don't know, okay? I don't think I'll send this back to try a half size down, but I'm regretting not going a half size down, okay? So again, just keep it in mind if you're thinking about picking this shoe up. Overall comfort, nothing crazy. Standard score, 7.5 out of 10. I gotta say that the midsole is feeling, despite a lower stack profile through that midsole, it's feeling pretty comfortable underfoot. It's not feeling like a hard ride out there thus far. My positive is the fact that the midsole is pliable, although out here in the cold, I'm not sure if it'll be pliable, but it's pliable and responsive. I'm excited about it, which I think of course, it's very tempting to see that carbon fiber, that plate inside there, but I'm just gonna do a little flexing here, everybody. Don't you worry, I'm not gonna break it. I just can see it just is feeling responsive. So again, good work there, North Face. Now, of course, the collar is the major drawback. We'll see. I would not have personally gone booty style collar for my design on this shoe, but that's what they opted for, and we'll just see how it turns out after 50 miles. Now, how will I use this shoe? Who is it best for? I'm gonna say faster training on the trails, even like a fartlek out on the trails where you wanna really pick up the pace. For me, it's not gonna be a go-to trail racing shoe. It's frankly just a little too heavy, actually. You know, 9.3, I would prefer to see that in the low 8s for a trail racing shoe. And again, I'll tell you another shoe I would pick over this shoe in a heartbeat. But who is it best for? You know, I think it's designed for that marathon 50K, 50-mile trail racing scene. I think it's going to do well for people if they can figure out the lockdown and the collar. I really do. Again, going back to the midsole responsiveness. Now, price point, and would I buy it again? $199, giving it a 6 out of 10. I would not, okay? Personally, for me, I wouldn't buy it again. And that price point, only because the weight and the lockdown. Now, oh, man, maybe I'll get to test out a size 7 at some point, a half size down from my regular size, but at this point, I wouldn't buy it again, okay? So there you go. Now, other shoes to buy other than the North Face Flight Vectiv. First of all, it's in a little bit of a class of its own because it's the first, is it? You let me know down in the comments. Is it the first carbon fiber plate trail racing shoe? Now, I'm only going to put one shoe on the screen that I would recommend over this shoe. I do think from marathon to 50 miles and 100 miles as well on the trails, this is going to be a winner. Like, people are going to love it if they can, again, nail down the lockdown around the ankle, make sure their foot is not slipping through the heel pocket. But I wore the Innovate Terra Ultra G210s, I think they are. Here it is on your screen, to win the Pikes Peak Marathon. But that shoe it's basically a cross-country spike. It's a very aggressive shoe. And I would never really recommend that shoe to most people, especially for the marathon distance. Therefore, I'm just struggling to find a shoe better than the Hoka EVO Speed Goat. And yes, it is available down below, and it's now back in stock. This shoe sold out. I think it's sold out twice already. It's back in stock right now. Let's just see. I think it's an ounce lighter than this guy. Let's just see. Okay, 9.3 versus 8.4. So for racing on the trails, even half marathon up to even 100 miles. But I would choose this guy over this guy pretty much any day, everybody. So in very similar lug depth overall, but the responsiveness of this midsole, even though it doesn't have a plate inside there, I bet it's coming very soon, combined with that lower weight, I would go this guy any day, okay? So, all right, there you go, North Face Flight Vectiv, quick specs on your screen one more time. Now, I just want to say, I'm not trying to harp too much on the North Face. This is a huge step forward for the North Face. Has anybody ran in other North Face running shoes in the past? This is a big deal for the North Face. I'm excited. I think they're innovating. They're pushing the ball forward in the trail racing scene in a big way. There's just a few things that they need to figure out. Again, this is their first attempt at this lineup. And so, I think they're going to make some huge strides forward in future iterations. There's my final early score, okay, for the shoe. We'll get you the final score after 50 miles. And the question of the day, listen, it's mid-February, March, April, May, okay? It's a little ways off, but it's not too far down the road. What do you plan to race in for trail races between half marathon and, let's say, the 50-mile distance in 2021? What trail shoes do you plan to race in between half marathon and 50 miles in 2021? 1. Thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. I got to go heat up my fingers. Onward and upward. We will toss it to, maybe to a Hoka EVO Speed Goat vlog or some other trail racing shoes. Right here, right here, right here. Thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. Seek beauty. Go warm up. Work hard and love each other. See you tomorrow.